And so with that, Betty, so glad to have you here as our SwiftUI guru. And today's topic is state management in session 5 of our SwiftUI study group. Over to you.
Yes. Now you see my screen. Yes. Thank you, Sierra, for that great presentation, and to introduce that fifth event, fifth study group. So just to, if you want to contact me, yes, there is a Slack channel of Women Who Code Mobile, and also Betty.dev, and you can have all the email or what you want to have to contact me. So what is the spirit of the study group? So the goal is to learn together and do it together, and following the Apple Learning platform. And you can ask all the questions whenever you want, at the end or in the middle of the presentation. And I also try to do as if I'm doing alone, so step by step. And the goal is to have a cool moment, and with kindness, and also give you each week a routine, and to learn today, to learn SwiftUI, the basic of Xcode, and also to create from scratch an iOS app. So which apps? This is called Schrödinger, and this is an app that manage daily meetings. And as I mentioned just before, it's proposed by Apple. Why Apple? Why have we chosen to have this tutorial, not the other? Because it's from Apple, and the Swift language is also Apple, so we have to choose. And so we did this one. What are the input of this SwiftUI series? There is 8 inputs, and we try each week to have one input and one chapter, but sometimes it takes more time to do the tutorial. So today, as we will see, it is not state management, but passing data between views. And the way that SwiftUI is that function with binding, it is called binding. So that's what we will do today. And just to show exactly before the last weeks, we did this screen without passing data. So if you if you try to modify the second screen and go back to the previous one, it will not retain the data. And today it will work if you change, for example, the name or the color and go back to the previous screen. It's going very fast, but it will change. So we will continue to build the application, and we will see binding. And binding is to passing data between screen, between the view hierarchy. So I will put this slide in the Slack channel, just to remind what is the state. So you can see it later if you want, and also binding. And we will do it together And just before that, I also added mutating. So it's important to understand what is mutating. It is not the main part of this tutorial, but it is mentioned in this tutorial. And if you want to have reference link, I put 3 different links just above to understand what it is. So, and I will show you just later this one. So now at the other week, we will do the same. So you can download the zip file from the last week's on the website, on the GitHub, at my GitHub. And you download the zip, you open, and you can be exactly at the same moment. So it's what exactly I did. I download the number 4. I open the Xcode file and start the application. So we can notice when we can edit, and as you show in the video, if you say done, it's not working. Okay, it's completely normal. It's not written, it's not pass the data between the view hierarchy. So it is the main goal of today. I will try to put the screen just near to follow the tutorial. You also, I have to mention that you can download here all the projects from Apple before this tutorial and when it is completed. So first session, add a theme view. So to add a theme view, maybe you don't show this up. To add a theme view, so you create a new SwiftUI view. For that, I am doing Command N. It is a SwiftUI view, and it is called theme view. It's always put it at the end, so I put it here. And so it is written, create a new SwiftUI theme view. You might define a list cell in the same file at the list view structure. By defining the cell in a separate file, you can more easily reuse it in a future project. So now we'll create the model for this view is a single instance of theme. Theme, it is here, this file here. So now I have to create a constant. So let theme, it is an instance of theme. The apps UI will display the theme name and color. Okay, create a Z stack. Create a Z stack that has a rounded rectangle filled with the theme's main color. So to create the Z stack, you have different way of doing this. You can say command, click, click. Up, I'm not here. I don't want to do it. Yes, because that's fun, because when there is a warning in Xcode, sometimes you don't want to do auto-completion, you don't want to do the command click. So, okay, I can do it manually, or I can complete I can turn off the warning. So, okay, I will do it manually. So Z stack in it, and I will add a rounded rectangle with a corner radius of, so the corner radius here with 4 CG floats, yes. And in order to fill with a theme main color, okay, and because the Z-slack overlay view back to front, the rounding rectangle act as a background. Okay, maybe he mentioned just to add the preview. No, okay, so let's complete it with config and just add, why not a buttercup? And so if I do control command B, it can build and succeed, and I can resume to see my screen on the right. Is working. It will working. Obviously, it will working. Oh, I forget to put the text inside my Z stack. So just above my rounding rectangle and not changing the text for the moment. So okay, I can make preview, but it will not change load. So I've got the same thing. I create my Z stack, replace the text view now with a label that display the theme name. So I replace this label with the theme name and also system image, which is called try not to forget a letter because if you forget a letter, there is no image. So it's a system image. You have to conform exactly the same name. So okay, paint palette system image, low contrast between the theme's main color and the default label test color can make this view difficult to read. That's the reason why we set just above outside the Z stack in order to see the curly bracket where the Z stack is finishing. You can click just after the curly brackets. So after that, you had a foreground, the theme with an accent color, and also we can fix the size, and you can choose horizontal, vertical. The first is false, and the second one is true, and match its vertical side to the intrinsic size of the label. Complete the theme views, design by the label more legible and displaying more of the theme color. So add a, is it okay? Now add a padding of 4 to the label, just above here. So I add a padding of 4. And it have to change in the meantime. Okay, so next you will use this theme view as a cell in the list to display all the themes of to the user. So this view is done. Now I will add a theme picker to select the different color. In this section, you will create a custom interacting view for your user to choose the color theme of a meeting view using the theme view. You will list all your app themes in the picker controller. Then you will store the value of the selecting theme in a variable that you bind to the parent view. That's where we will use binding. In this way, the theme view communicates in the theme selection up to the parent view. Create a new SwiftUI file, so same thing, command N, SwiftUI 5, and theme picker. Sometimes we had view, no, up. So also just at the end, try create a new SwiftUI, try to maintain a single source of truth for every piece of data in your app. Instead of creating a new source of truth for the theme pickers, you will use the binding that references a theme structure defined in the parent view. Create a binding to a theme name selection. So just here, we will create not only a variable, but a binding, and it is a var selection with the theme. This binding communicates changes to the theme within the theme picker back to the parent view. We will yeah, of course, you want to, we'll see just above. Defining selection creates compiler error because the sim picker requires a binding. You will see similar errors throughout this tutorial as you update other view. For that, each time here it is the view, so the thing that we find here. So each time when we are using binding, obviously you want also is on parameters. So selection here, it is called binding. The good thing is to give a constant. So you can use a constants type method to create a binding to the hard-coded immutable value. So here I give this one, the same one, Perikin color. So now it's cool. It got the information. It got a constant, not depending on the change of the view. Resume. Add a picker with the title theme and with the title theme and pass the selection binding. So here we do not want only a text, we want a picker. And I like to write the title, not you do what you want, but you sometimes it's better to directly not choose in the auto completion and in the menu, but directly type theme selection, the beginning, and it offer you the proper word. And binding, when you have binding, you know, because you saw the previous videos that you have to add dollar each time you see binding. So dollar selection to bind. So add picker. The picker will display all available themes. You will make theme conform to case. Yeah, case. And last week 2 weeks before the last session, we saw the definition of identifiable, and so here you will make theme conform to case iterable so that you can easily access all the enumeration cases. So I go in the modal, in the theme, and here I add just after string, I add case iterable and also identifiable. And now it will say, yeah, I want, you say it is identifiable, but I want something that allow me to identify. And it is an ID. But here, if I let in Xcode fix, it will add, I can do it. It will add an ID with object identifiable. It's not what we want. We want an ID, but which is come from, for example, from the name, ID string. So that's what we said here, using the sim name as its ID. So, I'm too fast. Yeah, poof, poof. Tac. So I add this compute property, and to create my ID, I use the name. And after that, I have to, in the theme picker now, I can add, yeah, I forget to add what is called the content just after my picker. It's a mistake. So generic parameter content could not be, I have to add a content. So with curly brackets, and inside now I can add my for each with the sim and all cases, and also it will call in for each sim in, add a for each to list all cases of sim, add a sim view. So inside I will call this view, and it will iterate what it will iterate type for each for each theme. He will create his own view, and you can add, it's not mandatory, but you can add a tag subview when you need to differentiate among them in control, like pickers and lists. Tag value can be any hashable type, like in an enumeration. So here I will call this one and call sim. Is it okay? Warning, not warning? Resume. And so the tag, okay, yeah, the tag next you will create a source of truth for the binding that you added to the theme pickers. So in detail edit view, add a theme picker and pass it a binding to the theme. So just after the age stack at the beginning here, you've got the sliding and you can view it just above. You've got the text, and just here you will also see appears just at the same time. That's the thing which is really cool in SwiftUI. If you can see your view binding, so dollar, you view building at the same time. So yeah, now you can see that we had the picker just above. So the theme pickers passes changes to the theme selection back to the data theme property. In the edit view, in the next session, you will add another binding so that the remaining meeting data flow between the detail and between two screens and the detail and edit view. So I forget nothing. No, that's okay. Do you have question? Yeah, you have question, exactly. So feel free to, yeah, shout out. Yeah, it's a good option. I will continue if you do not have question. So now we will do the same way with binding again between other view. So when a user modify information about a Scrum, multiple screens in the app need to reflect those changes. In this section, we'll add a binding to the edit view that updates the Scrum in the detail view when the user taps the done button. So if I build the app and replace my build, it will fail. And it will fail or not fail, succeed. I can show you what we will do now. It's faster in the preview. So here, when we edit and update the screen in the detail view, when the user tap the done button, if I edit and, for example, I change the color, it's not working. So if I go 10 minutes, it's not working. And if I change the title, nothing changed. It's always the same thing. So now we will add binding between the view in order to refresh the view and to retain the data. So the detail screen needs to update in response to changes made in the edit screen. So the detail screen shares a source of truth with the edit screen. You'll convert the edit screen state property to a binding here, because the binding, as we saw in the diagram, could modify in both sense. So in the detail edit view, I will change this variable to binding And for that, I can't keep the variable private because it will not working. And also I have to have initialize here with daily Scrum data, and not the second one. Okay. So convert from states to abiding. Data is now an initialization parameter. So you need to remove the private attributes and daily Scrum data initialization. Updating data creates compiler errors because the detail edit view requires abiding. At the bottom of the file, pass a constant here, as we already did in the preview. Just above is missing the data and it's abiding, but it's a preview, so we have to give it a yeah. Voila. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, and go back here. Yeah, we have to give a constant. And what kind of constraints? Daily Scrum sample data. It's an array, so I take the first one and I take the first data in the array, so 0. And that's okay. You will create a blah blah. In a detail view, add in detail view here, add a private state property name data just above this one. So state, it is a private var called data, and it is Scrum, the same data. I have to initiate. The empty initializer creates an instance with default value for its property. You will update this value to match the selected Scrum when the user taps the edit button. So now set data to Scrum data in the edit button action closure. So just above, where is my toolbar? Here, edit. So here I have to, when the user click on this button, I have to refresh, and also update the detail edit view initializer to include a binding to data. So yes, he said is missing. So again, binding, so dollar and data. Change it that user make to data in the did view are shared with the data property in the detail view. Cool. The compiler no longer generates error for the data argument. So command B succeeded. Next, add code to update Scrum when the user taps the done button at the bottom of the file call. So we've got a toolbar item here, cancel and done. This one inside the closure, inside the curly bracket, Scrum update. And now you can notice that there is no auto completion. I have to create update, and Xcode do not give me the proper func, as if it was missing, and it's missing. I don't know if I missed something in the tutorial, but it seems that it is not, this part is not detailed. So if you want it to work, you have to create this method. And I tried to go back, and I did not find a moment in this tutorial that it is explained. So for that, I create an explanation to add this func in the wiki. I give you a link in the presentation, just here at the here I say mutating and fac. Yeah, I create a wiki to when there is some that kind of thing, strange or question in the study group, I added in this wiki. And so the last time it was the color and icon. I think it's not easy to find, and this time I think it is not easy to, and it's not explained somewhere, but maybe I'm wrong. And so you have to go in the daily Scrum. So Scrum here, we are calling this variable daily Scrum. So jump to definition if you want, or go directly here. And here we have to add a func. So just above var data, it is, so that's also the reason why I explain mutating inside the struct. You have to add mutating just before the this func. So it is my update from data, and it is calling data inside. It is not really well, I have to change. It is not really well presented. So here you've got your title, and you call data that title, and after that attendees, and attendees, it's also data that attendees, and above length in minutes equal data that length is minute, and the sim also. All the things that I have to refresh and communicate between view, the things that are modified by the user. So double, it's an int, and yes, cannot value of type double. I have to convert. Maybe if I fix, it will propose me. Yeah, I had to convert between an int and a double. So it is written here. So now, if you go back in the tutorial, in this file, so my detail view, yes, detail view. Here, it should work. It should work. So if I control B now, cannot use mutable in the variable. Maybe I make a mistake. Maybe I make a mistake mutating from var data. So here, what did I miss? So my var data, it's mutated from up from data. It seems correct. Maybe I have to follow. No, not mistake. Yeah, I check here. So we will continue, and I think now it is, well, the comparison generator, because Scrum is a constant. Yes, I have to follow the tutorial. Yeah, and but you have now the method is you see the color is well. So yeah, we have to do also the other modifier at the top of the file. Convert the we have to convert here the Scrum constant to a variable binding. So yeah, that's what the warning. So it's a binding, and it could not be a let. It should have to be a var. Now it's happy. To a variable. Using a binding ensures that the detail view renders again when the user interaction modifies Scrum. Okay, at the bottom now I forget var Scrum daily Scrum. Okay, at the bottom of the file, pass a constant. Yeah, here in the preview. Yes, there's a warning here. Yes, so instead of that, now it's a binding, so you need a constant to be happy. And so daily Scrum, my simple data, where exactly the first one, okay. Back to the detail, but the edit screen passes changing back to the detail screen. But before you can view those changing in the app, you need to finish passing binding throughout the rest of the navigation hierarchy. The compiler continues to generate errors until you finish passing the Scrum binding. So now, again, error. So everything is good here. I got my constant. Okay, so now pass a binding into the detail view. The list view also needs to reflect changes a user makes to an individual Scrum on the edit screen. For this data flow, you need to pass another binding down to the view hierarchy. You will start by changing the Scrum property from a constant to a binding. Then you will create binding for individual items in the Scrum's array to the detail view. So in Scrum view, convert here in the Scrum view here again, we will convert the binding, ouch, uppercase, binding. It could not be a length. It should be a var Scrum daily Scrum. And same thing, the preview should have a constant. You want to know what you have to display, and we can take the constant in the sample data. Okay, and now also you have to be, the for each view passes a Scrum into its closure, but the detail view initializer expect a binding. I think it is written in the warning, say a binding. So in order to have a binding, we should have to add in different places the dollar sign, a binding to an array into a reach for loop, modify the for each view to accept a binding. So here first, and next, to complete the syntax, you will pass a binding to each iteration of the loop's closure. So where here, $sign and S, not obvious, and one is missing. Change the closure parameter type to binding daily Scrum. The dollar prefix accesses a projected value of a wrapper property, and one is missing. Yes, pass a binding daily Scrum to the detail view initializer. So here, I would like to do this one at first. No, we have to follow the tutorial. And so in this session, you use array binding syntax to easily bind each element of the list of Scrum to its associate detail view. So it's not working. So we have no warning in this view. Okay, pass a binding into the list view. You have to through all the views, through all the hierarchy, you have to also to bind. So we will go at the top. So in the Scrumminger app, add a private state property named Scrub name. So here name Scrums. So my states private, it's always private state because it is used in not outside the view. So daily Scrum, that's sample data. Yes, now the same is looking for, so for now you initialize the property with sample data, pass a binding to Scrums to the Scrum view initializer. So here you need to use it, binding Scrums. Updating Scrumminger app fixes the remaining compiler error, maybe or maybe not. Boom, succeeded. So now we can run Scoringer in simulator and edit a scrum. Verify that after you tap the done button, the detail and the view. Say, let's go. I will restart. And now if I go to edit, I'm a 30 minutes and design design Melissa up, and I say magenta, and it's done. Now you can see that the screen and the title and the length is good, and now also on the first screen, so it's working. It is the end of the passing data screen. Did I miss something about explanation? No. Have you got question? I will add the slides in the Slack channel of Women Who Code, because you have link inside, and it's interesting to read. The explanation are really good from all the different way of explain state, binding, mutating, and it's very interesting to have different way of explanation. So have you got question? Melly is here. No?
I learn a lot whenever I'm here watching these. I don't know anything about SwiftUI, so I'm definitely over here absorbing it, although I don't know enough about iOS to even ask questions.
You can also, we had a specific channel on at Women Who Code on SwiftUI, and so you can also come in the channel to participate and have, if you have questions.
As always, thank you so much, Betty, for continuing to lead this study group. And then we will be back again here next week for, I think, recording audio. We're just looking at this. Do you know what the next topic is?
State management. Yes. We have to split because it was too long. The views were long to explain. So yeah, so state management next week.
Sounds good to me. I'll see everyone again next week. Thank you so much, Betty.
Thank you, Sarah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.